They came out fairly strong to start, got 2 stops back-to-back on the first and second teams, and then the first and second teams ended up going on long, sustained drives, Mario, which I think that's something that many were hoping to see. I know I've put a lot of emphasis on the offensive line, and if you're going on long, sustained drives, it means the offensive line is probably improving at least a little bit from what they had in the first preseason game.
Yeah, the offense had to respond, and according to Coach O, they did. This is what Coach O had to say.
Excellent job by our team and our coaching staff of getting the intensity up out there. It was a great day. There was a lot of enthusiasm on both sides of the football. The defense started fast on the first series, stopped the first offense, stopped the second offense, and then the first and second offense went down the field and drove on the next couple of series. Outstanding day for both. We ended up with a 2-minute drill, a lot of great things. We still had some protection problems, got better. Overall, I thought the offense had a better day today, scored points, made some big plays.
Yeah, it's funny, Musso. This is something that was not exclusive to LSU across the conference, really across the country. A lot of schools kind of needed to bounce back on defense, and apparently that's what happened. And we weren't going to be surprised by Coach O saying that, but it's very clear that people kind of hold their opinions of LSU, and their opinions aren't going to really change. This is a team that has a lot of impact freshmen, a lot of guys that are going to be asked to make an impact, play a lot of snaps right away, and a team whose strength appears to be the defensive side of the ball. I mean, let's call it what it is, man. The wide receivers, you have so much talent as far as the freshmen go. Any one of these guys can play snaps, but the offensive line has to still be a concern and had to be the concern in the minds of many because, yes, they improved, but Ali Gay apparently was still flying around. Ojulari was flying around. And those guys hopefully are going to do that against UCLA. We'll see if the offensive line can continue to hold up. They were missing some guys. Guys like Martinez and Hill continued to get more reps, which can be a good thing. But again, it's kind of clear where the hole is on this team in the mind of most people, and that's on the offensive line.
Definitely in my mind. I mean, we went through it last Thursday, Mario. I am a bit concerned about the continuity and communication. I mean, that's the two things that everyone's talked about. It's not just us. It's Coach O. It's literally the offensive linemen themselves who have talked about having to work more on continuity, having to work more on communication. And when you've had this many lineup changes that they've already had during camp, it's becomes a bit concerning because you are playing an experienced defense. You're playing an experienced defensive front in your first game. It's going to be a fair test for LSU, especially since they've had a bit of a up and down camp, so to speak, along the offensive line. You know what? Coach O was even asked about it. He was asked now about continuity and if the injuries are making that a concern. This one's number 7 from Coach O on Saturday.
Sure. And, it all starts with protection. Now, we're going against a pretty good defensive line. We got to protect the quarterback. We got some receivers that can catch the ball. I feel good about our run game. We got to shore up our protection. I think that the next 2 weeks that we're able to get most of our guys back, hopefully, and I think we're going to be fine. So
you'll get them back. I don't want to redo this whole thing that we did Thursday, but you'll get them back, and that's fine. But it goes back to continuity. You heard him. That was the question was, is that a concern with the injuries? And he said, sure, it is. But we've got receivers who can catch the ball. And it was interesting to hear him say they feel good about the running backs because earlier in the media availability, this is going to be number 3 from Coach O, he was asked about Ty Davis-Price and John Emery, both of whom were not at practice. I'm sorry, not at the scrimmage. On Saturday, Ty's been dealing with that camp injury really for the majority of the time. Kind of retweaked it in when he was in a non-contact jersey. Coach said it was going to be something they had to watch really the whole year. But without those guys, I mean, it's been just the same really conversation throughout. It's kind of going back and forth that, in the spring, it was, it's their time. They have to take control of it now. And at the start of camp, it was, look, they had really good summers. Ty's in the best shape he's been in. They're ready to take that next step, and we're expecting a breakout season for them. And now it's back a little bit maybe towards what you're hearing in spring. This was Coach O on what he needs out of Ty Davis-Price and John Emery.
We need these guys to come out and perform. These young running backs have been out there every day. Tyrion and John, have been off and on. And again, I believe in them. They're great backs, but we need some consistency out of both of them, and we haven't got it really in camp.
Yeah, he's been saying it's time for a pretty long time now, so that time might have actually passed by now, Musso. We talked about it before the show, man. it's kind of crazy when you sit and think about it. LSU had the number 3 recruiting class this year, according to 24/7 Sports, and a lot of the national perception around this team is, last year was so bad, they're going to suffer. The people that doubt LSU seem to think that that's kind of be the springboard, or I shouldn't say the springboard. It's going to be the thing that catapults LSU in a downward trajectory. But according to the recruiting, that did not happen at all. If you look up and down this roster, it's incredible how much talent they have in just first-year guys, and a lot of that obviously is at running back. Because yes, TDP, Emery were both top 5 guys in terms of their recruitment, but Kiner has come out, like a bat out of hell. Same with Armani Goodwin, and it looks like they're ready to take some snaps from those guys from the very first game. And Coach O is not even trying to hide it anymore, and that's got to be such a big luxury if you're LSU, that maybe those 2 guys have not panned out in their first 2 years, but here comes Kiner, here comes Goodwin, and you might be good anyway. It's to the point where I'm less worried about TDP or about Emery, and I'm more excited to see what Kiner or what Armani Goodwin can do, because those guys have been dynamite throughout camp.
See, but here's where I differ from you on that. I don't know if those guys might be ready. I don't know if LSU's ready for them to do that, though. I mean, just listen to that cut. Those guys have shown up every day. They've been here and they've worked. But Ty and John, they've been off and on, and we need consistency out of those guys. Like it feels like LSU and their staff, they're more interested in Emery and Ty Davis-Price being the guys this year, and they're just not necessarily maybe getting the consistency out of them that they want. It's not that I don't think Armani Goodwin or Josh Williams or Corey Kiner could get reps this year. It doesn't sound like LSU and Coach O are ready for them to be the guy yet, and that's where I think at least a little bit of my concern comes in from the running back position, because it really looked like John Emery was having a really good camp. I mean, look, Ty's just been hurt. I mean, that's unfortunate. He hadn't been able to be out there. But it really looks like Emery's been having a good camp. Now, he was out, and you get that quote from Coach O about them needing more consistency, and they haven't seen consistency from these guys during camp. And that's like, to me, that's a bit concerning.
Yeah, but it's a new team. I hear you. It's a new team with a new identity. And as much as you try to simulate everything right now, that identity is eventually going to be decided on the field. And Max Johnson, at the end of the day, only started 2 games. It's much different going into a season knowing you're going to be the full-time starter, and we'll see how they fit in with those guys. And you might be right. It might behoove LSU to have TDP or Emery to emerge as that guy, the guy. But again, I kind of think they have a little bit of a margin for error in this first game against UCLA. It'll be a little bit smaller, but you survive that. You're on to Central Michigan, you're on to McNeese State, and you have some time to kind of tinker with things. And as you tinker with things in this first game, it might make you sweat a little bit. Maybe UCLA covers this spread, but I think LSU can kind of learn some things in this first game, learn them the hard way, and still hopefully get a victory, because the team that starts at the beginning of the season might be a lot different than the identity that we see from the team at the end of the year.
Somebody who did stand out before we get to break in the scrimmage was Devontae Lee, wide receiver, who was a linebacker and then moved back to wide receiver. He made a phenomenal catch that the LSU football Twitter, they posted it on Saturday, where they just threw it up to him on the sideline, and it was on the west sideline in Tiger Stadium, and he went up, grabbed it, and then got a foot down and drug the other one. Ended up getting both feet in. The coverage was fairly tight on him as well. If you didn't see the play, go check it out. It's on LSU's football Twitter. But Max Johnson today, this will be number 2 from LSU's quarterback. He was asked about Devontae Lee and kind of the emergence he's had during camp, as well as other young receivers on the LSU team.
Dooley's done a great job of just, kind of getting open. And I think anytime it's been one-on-one, we've just given him a shot, such as, throwing him a go ball, whether it's a jump ball or back shoulder. I think he's done a great job of just being physical and making plays. I think another guy that's kind of stood out, I mean, all the guys have stood out, but I think just some of the freshmen, just such as like, Ryan Thomas and Malik, they've done a lot of, they made a lot of great plays this fall camp. And hopefully we can all translate it to the season.
Just throwing it up to him, see if he can go get it. That, like I said, that play that they posted on their Twitter is a phenomenal example of that. And more bouquets for Brian Thomas there as well, Max Johnson. And he mentioned Malik Neighbors, who had a very strong day Saturday as well, per all reports out of that scrimmage.
So much talent at receiver, man. It's incredible. When you go down the roster, Hilton, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, who we've talked about for such a long time. A lot of these guys had the seniority. They have experience in these games. We talked with Carter Bryant on Jay Hill and Hunt show about Jeray Jenkins and his depth of target he had the highest depth of target for LSU last season. And if you sit down and actually watch the film, he opened up a lot for Keyshawn Butte in the short and intermediate area of the field. So a lot of these guys that had the seniority, have that experience, but again, new team, new identity, new offensive coordinator. Yeah, you're trying to be similar to 2019, but there's so many jobs up for grabs, and there's so much talent on this offense. I'm very excited to watch it unfold.